Hey, hi, what's up? How are you today? My name is Kendra, and this is Kendra Reads Sometimes because I read sometimes. Today we are going to be doing a July wrap up, but it's not your typical July wrap up. It is going to be a Sunrise on the Readathon wrap up hosted by Katie Colson. She hosted this the whole month of July, and when I tell you, it got me reading. Your girl was reading for sure. Some stats real quick before we get into the books. I read 18 books this month. That is over double what I normally read. Woo-hoo. And let's see, my pages were, I read a total of 4,705 pages. Amazing.
If this angle is a little bit different, we're going to pretend like it's not. And we're going to pretend like my mic didn't die after 30 minutes of filming. Anyway, my reading was amazing this month. I'm so proud of myself. I'm tired and I felt like I was going to take a break, but honestly, I have been continuing to read, especially on my Kindle. It's how I've been cozying up, relaxing after a long day. I read a lot of books this month that were audio and ones that were on my Kindle or rented from my library. Shout out to the Libby app. Whoop, whoop. But I will put the book up here if I don't have it physically. The first book I read for this month was House at the Bottom of the Lake. And I gave this a 3-star. It was okay. This one is about two teenagers that go out on a date on a canoe. And they go into a cave exploring and find a house that is at the bottom of the lake. And I wish it would have just been creepier. Weird things do start to happen, but I felt like it wasn't like packing that punch that I wanted. So that one was okay. Again, I gave that a 3-star. Next on the list, funny going from a meh to a 6-star read. This might be my favorite book of the year. We'll see by the end of it. But 6-star read, we're coming in hot with atmosphere. And you can tell by my tabs how much I loved this. This is about our main character, Joan, and it is set in the 1980s about the NASA space program, and specifically the first women astronauts that are learning about the program. And we have sapphic love in here, family dynamics, and tension. I have not cried at a book like this ever, I don't think. I was sobbing at the last page, holding my hand so I couldn't see what was happening, tears streaming down my face. I loved this so much. So much heart in this. And even the foreword by Taylor Jenkins Reid almost had me tearing up. She put in her heart and soul to this book, and you can tell. So anyway, please read this. Please pick it up. Love this book. My next book is my reread of Bunny by Mona Awad. And this book is about feels like a sorority, but a clique of girls in college. Our main character, Samantha, goes to one of their parties, and they are strange, but she's like, I'll go anyway. and chaos ensues. This is literary fiction, like magical realism more, I guess. Kind of dark academia, satire. It's funny because I gave it a 4-star and I'm still confused on my reread. So I would love to read it again. The good news is Katie Colson, who also did the Sunrise on the Readathon, if you don't know, she is hosting Bunny Read Along all of August on her Patreon. So if you are interested in reading Bunny, please check out her Patreon because it's going to be so fun. We're going to read it together, chapters by chapters, and then come back from sprints, chat about it, and discuss it. There's a lot to discuss with this one. So 4 stars. The next book I read was Tinfoil Butterfly. And I read this I listened to it with audio. And I gave this a 3.75. This feels very similar to like The Walking Dead or The Last of Us, if you've seen that show, where it's kind of apocalyptic. I feel weird rating it kind of low because it did have really good trans representation and conversations about grief. So that was handled really well. It just got kind of meandering and boring in some spots. But overall, it was a decent read. My next book I read was Looking for Alaska by John Green. And this, it's kind of hard to see because it's shiny limited edition, but this is a reread for me. I found this copy at a thrift shop not too long ago, and I was like, well, let me reread it because I haven't read it since I was a teenager, and I'm around 30 now. So let's reread it and see if we like it, because honestly, when I read it the first time, I didn't really care for it. And everybody seemed to rave about it. So I reread it and I did give it a 3-star. I listened to the audio with the book. And I understand the meaning of searching for the great perhaps, and I do love that. But as a mom, reading from teenagers' perspectives and all of the antics they're getting into and the way that they're talking, I just didn't want to read about it. I didn't care about it. And I think even as a teenager, I didn't want to hear about sex being talked about so explicitly and vividly. It felt like that was all they were talking about, and so it was kind of annoying to me. But, I mean, it was okay. It's just not for me, I don't think. And I'm sorry to fans who love it. I love that for you. The next book I read was The Secret Garden, the graphic novel. And this was okay. I got this from my library, and I gave this one a 3-star. It was very palatable to be told in the graphic novel version. So I did like that, but I just didn't connect to any of the characters. I felt like it was just a good palate cleanser to read and then move on to my next deeply emotional read. The next book that I read was Parabel of the Sower. And you might think by my tabs that I absolutely loved this. And there were parts that I did love, but I ended up giving this a 4-star. This follows a character, a young girl in the future. This was written in, when was it written? I think 1994 or 95. Let me look here. 1993. So this was written in 1993 about the years 2025 to 2027 and the political climate of things and how downhill it goes. It's told in letter format for some of it, and then it's told from our main character's perspective. Some of the quotes in here were so good and fully encompass how I see the world or I view religion. And for that, I have to keep this on my shelf. But there were some parts that were so meandering and boring, and I just wanted to get to the next section. It just felt like it went on for a long time. But I have to keep this because this is a book that I will reference if I am looking for inspiration. It feels like a Bible of sorts where I really believe in the things that this author's trying to say. I just didn't enjoy other parts of it where it felt like we were just trying to get to the next thing. So I don't think I will continue on with the series. I do have the next one on my Kindle, but I just don't know if I can get through that physically. I did have the audiobook with this one, so I was tandem reading it, and that seems to help. That's like my favorite way to read books is to tandem read, because I really get immersed in the story and feel like I am comprehending everything. So, yeah. The next 5 books that I read was the Heartstopper series, and I feel like I'm late to the game. Everybody and their mom has read this one or read this series, but I loved this. I mean, it was so good. I'll go through each one and let you know my rating and then kind of talk about it as a whole. So the first one I gave 4 stars. It was a solid start to the series. The second one, though, I gave 5 stars. The family aspects in this one I loved. And let me back up. If you don't know, this is about Nick and Charlie. They are 2 boys, 2 teenage boys starting a relationship, and their struggles and wins. And anyway, the second one really dove deeper into the family aspects and struggles that they're going through. So I loved that. The third book I gave 4 stars. So again, really good. The fourth one, I gave another 5 stars because this one again went deeper. It talked about a lot of mental health things that maybe not a lot of other authors would go there. But it really deepened the story and the conversations that can be had from that. And then number 5, I gave 3.5 stars. Oh, I was sad about this because I wanted it to be so good. I just felt like felt unfinished. It just was a little underwhelming. But I was happy to find out that she is working on the 6th one. So we're not done yet. She is working on making an ending. So yeah, overall, fantastic series. They were super quick to fly through too. I got these from my library and they were so quick. The next book on my list is the Book of the Most Precious Substance. Wow, that's hard to say. That's a long title. But I tabbed this one quite a bit. There were pretty good quotes in here. This follows our main character. I don't remember her name right now, but she is a book seller, finder of sorts of antique books, rare books. And she is asked by someone she knows, hey, if you can find this book, I have a person willing to give 6 figures for it. It's a super rare book, the Book of the Most Precious Substance. And it is a book about sex magic. And it is all about their journey, trying to find it. Powerful people want it. And this was a slow burn to a satisfying finish. I mean, this was so satisfying at the end. I gave this 4 stars. So the writing was a little bit slow at times. Pace was a little bit slow, but it was all worth it. So good. The next book that I read was The Compound. And this book, it's being pitched as Love Island and Lord of the Flies. So, okay, sign me up. I'm here. If you know anything about me, I love a competition. If it's on a movie, TV, book, sign me up. I don't care what it's about. I don't care what the niche is. I will consume it. I was super excited for this one. And this book took me forever to find. It was sold out at all my barns. It was back ordered on Amazon for like 2 weeks. And I finally had an employee at Barnes & Noble order it for me. And I only gave it a 3.75 star. I was so sad because it was so good in the beginning. It was so promising, and the end just felt like it fizzled out. It had some parts go super fast and some parts that seemed like they wouldn't end. It was so strange. The pacing was strange, but I had fun with it. I just wish it would have went there. I wish it would have gotten gorier and crazier, and maybe it was the descriptions. It needed more descriptions about physically what was happening instead of just being like, oh, they fell or they left, or it just wasn't enough. So I was super excited but a little let down by this one. My next book I read was Kill Creatures, and I was super excited for this one because Rory Powers is the same author who did Wilder Girls. And I loved that book. The body horror was so good. It was, creepy, but good. And this one, I only gave it 2 stars. And to be honest, I don't even remember much of what it was about, which is telling. I remember the main girl, and they're in, I think, high school. They're pretty young. But the main girl, it starts off with her at a funeral for one of her best friends, and she admits that she has killed her best friends. But then her friend comes back from the dead, and we go from there. And they're her best friends, but she killed them. And so we're trying to figure out, is that true? Is she crazy? Is there a reason that she did that? Do they deserve it? I don't know. And I don't remember, to be honest, because I hate that I didn't love this because I really like Rory Powers. But on to the next one. What can you do? My next read was Cross My Heart by Megan Collins. And this one was fun. I had a good time with this one. It wasn't perfect, but I gave this one a 3.5 star. If you don't know what this one is about, it is about our main character. She has recently had a heart transplant, and her heart that she gets belonged to the wife of a famous author that she is obsessed with. So she starts getting obsessed and chatting with him on this website or app called Donor something, where the donors can anonymously talk. Donor Connect, I think that's what it's called. But they start talking, and she's a little obsessive. She's a little bit Taylor Swift mastermind coded. And they even, the first part, I think they quote that. Let me see. This is the dedication, okay? For anyone who relates to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift, and for every woman who's ever been called crazy by someone she loves. Say no more. That is the epitome of this book. It was a fun time. I guessed who the villain, bad guy was pretty early on, but I didn't guess how. So it still kept me hooked, still kept me going, guessing, reading. I had a good time with this one. Yeah. The next book I read was We All Rot Eventually by Mia Ballard. And this one, so good. So short. It was like 95 pages, but I gave it 4 stars. It was like Mayfly meet The Substance and a little bit of my year of rest and relaxation sprinkled in. Yeah, it was like slow sad girl lit fic and boom, craziness. Like, we got there. When stuff happened, it happened. I was confused. I had to reread parts because I'm like, did I really read what I just read? Yep, I did. Wild. Also, like, hadn't read something like that before. Hadn't read that. Haven't thought of that. Wish I could unthink that. It was gory. It was fun. Very fun time, but trigger warning for body horror, body gore. It goes there. So just keep that in mind. And the last book that I read for our readathon for July was Babel. Now, this girl, she got me like 540 points right at the end of the readathon. And I had a good time. I had a good time reading it too. Oh, so good. I gave it a 4.5 star. And that was only because some parts did feel a little meandering, a little bit long, but it was perfect vibes. Fall academia. I wish I would have read this in fall, but I am so glad I read it. I felt like I was learning when I was reading it, like that same scratch in my brain that I get from reading nonfiction. Yes, I was learning while I was reading it, but it made it in such a way where I was still having fun. This is about a boy who gets taken from his homeland by a man. They go to London, and he basically tells him, I'm going to pay for your schooling. He takes him as a ward, not a son, a ward. And he says you need to learn how to interpret languages, because the magic system in this book, you can do magic through learned languages through silver bars. So stick with me here. The more languages that you learn, the more magic you possess to do certain things. And a lot of this magic helps run the city. So they go to Oxford and Babel. And it is about our main character's struggle with what side of history does he want to be on? Does he feel inclined to represent his home country and that home? Or is the home at Babel supporting this country? And are they, is this really for his benefit, or is this for the benefit of white people and the white country that they're living in? So yeah, it's really about them taking a stand, and I loved it. The slow burn throughout, and the ending, it was sad, but it was what I knew had to happen for it to be a good, cohesive story. So the ending made sense for me. All right, guys, that was my July wrap up. Thank you so much to Katie Colson and all of the assistant librarians, anyone who helped out with this readathon this month, because it sparked a new joy in me to create videos, to do live streams, and just participate in this community that is BookTube. It's the most wholesome community that I have found. So thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Take care and go have a good day on purpose. Bye.